Hey guys, so with the election going on and the whole process of me trying to figure out who I should vote for, I find myself torn between Dr. Ben Carson and Bernie Sanders. Now, in researching the two candidates, I find that an old debate from my middle school days is resurfacing. The legalization of marijuana, whether it be for medical purposes or, of course, recreational purposes, it doesn't matter. It's another debate and it's resurfacing again, and I would like to take a few minutes just to explain my standpoint on the topic. Not because I want to change anyone's views on the drug, but just because I want to talk about it. And I want to emphasize, I am not making this video to change anyone's minds. I'm not trying to convince anyone that the drug is good or the drug is bad, nor am I trying to start any fight. I'm simply trying to share facts that I have personally researched. I've given reports on the drug, and I would like to share the information that I have learned. It's something I want to share with you guys. Whether you like it or not, don't care. I really don't. If you want to debate it in the comments, you go right ahead. Everything I know, everything I'm going to say in this video, so there's really no point in trying to argue with me, because, everything I know, I'm laying out right here. All my arguments, I'm laying out. So, that's a thing. So yeah, let's just get started, I guess. So, in my research, I found that most people are in one of four categories of stoners, I guess you could say. I've come personally to know these categories as either users, reliant, medics, or shunners. So my personal titles for these categories, and they're no way official titles. This is just what I call them. Now, users are people who use the drug recreationally, to have fun, but they can go without it if need be. They usually smoke it or ingest it as a food or as a tea, and, well, according to my research, and I've never heard of this in person, so I'm not sure if this is true, but according to my research, there are rare cases where people will even grind it into powder and snort it, or even dissolve it in a solvent and inject it. Again, not sure how true that is. One of the things I've researched. Next we have, in contrast to the users, we have medics, who, they only use the drug for medical purposes, and solely for medical purposes. These are the people who use the drug by mainly rubbing cannabis oil on their skin or eating it. Usually they only smoke the plant if they can't find or afford the oil, or, if they want the benefit of the high as well. And we'll cover the medical benefits and the medical harms later on in the video. Anyways, next we have the reliants. These are the people who, much as the title suggests, cannot be without it for reasons that, again, I'll cover later. And finally we have the shunners. The shunners. These are the people who will not touch the stuff, whether it's for religious reasons, medical reasons, moral reasons, legal reasons. Even if they've just tried it in the past and they don't like it, they do not use it, no matter what. I use that no matter what, that's loosely blah blah blah. Now, in my personal experience, I've found that, ironically, most shunners either know absolutely nothing about the drug, or they know absolutely nothing about the drug other than the fact that it's bad, or they know more about the drug than many stoners. Whether that's comedic happenstance or coincidental or just significant of some deeper statistic, I don't know, and I don't really care. It's just my observation. First, I'm going to address the shunners. Shunners. Why do I keep saying shunners? I cannot speak today. I am tired. It's 10 in the morning. That's like earliest than I've woke up in that's the earliest I've woken up since high school, I'm going to say. No, that's not true. I woke up earlier. It's early for me. Anyways, first things first, I'm going to talk to the shunners. Now, personally, this is the category I belong to. I'm not going to give you my reasons why I belong to it. Those reasons are mine and mine alone. That's just, I don't like it. Anyways, Now, shunners, I'm going to address those who know absolutely nothing about the drug. And I'm also going to address some of you stoners who really don't know nearly as much as you think you do or claim to know. Trust me, there's more of you out there than you think. First, let's address the very basics, shall we? What is marijuana? Stay with me, I'm going somewhere. Now, again, first I'm addressing the shunners who don't know anything about it, so bear with me, you guys, I'm getting there. Marijuana is an herb. More specifically, it's a part of an herb family known as hemp. Hemp is the family, if you guys know the order of classification, it's kingdom, phylum, family, class, genus, species, somewhere around there. Anyways, I know it's in the family hemp. Its scientific class, the classification, is cannabis sativa, mostly known as weed. Fun fact, cannabis covers a lot of different types of weed. It covers, spice. That's really the only one I can think of right now because it's early, but I know there's more. The most common one is cannabis sativa, which is just weed. If you don't know that it's known weed, then you really need to be watching this video, because son, I'm about to learn you a thing or two about the world, okay? Yeah, I'm about to learn you a thing. Anyways, weed is very popular because it contains a drug called tetrahydrocannabinol. I think I pronounced it right. Tetrahydrocannabinol. Yeah, tetrahydrocannabinol. That's it. Or THC for short, although technically it's really THCA, but that's just chemistry, blah, blah, blah. Don't worry, semantics. All right. Anyways, THC is popular because once it starts circulating through your system, your brain starts producing chemicals that make you feel happy and relaxed. And forgive me, I can't really remember the specific names of the chemicals, but I believe it's endorphins, something like that, if I'm remembering correctly. I don't know. Anyways, THC makes you produce the happy stuff. THC also reacts with the hippocampus of the brain. Hippocampus or hypothalamus? Hippocampus. It reacts with the hippocampus of the brain. It inhibits its communications with the rest of the brain, the rest of the nervous system, the body. Basically, it means that there's short-term memory. That means the following stuff are affected. Short-term memory is affected, concepts of time are affected, reaction speed, even the sense of touch and smell, your senses, they're all distorted. Sometimes all these different parts of the hypothalamus, sometimes they're enhanced, sometimes they're crippled, sometimes they're fluctuating. It changes, but it affects that part of the brain. Now, the combination of the happy chemicals, the endorphins, and the effects on the hippocampus creates the feeling of being high. That is the science behind weed. Now, at this point, if it hasn't already happened, most of you stoners would have already clicked away from this video. If you haven't, props, it proves you're actually learning something. Congratulations, props for you, sir. Big claps, amen. Now, we'll cover more on THC in a minute. For now, let's answer the age-old question. Is marijuana good for you or bad for you? And the answer is, it's both. Marijuana does have medical benefits. It is proven. They include, and more are being tested, but the proven ones include the following. And I wrote this one down, so let me read on my screen. Hold on. The prevention of some types of cancers, and the slowdown in growth of other types. So it means that cancer cells, it prevents some of them, other ones, it stops them from replicating, slows them down at replicating at the least. Not all cancers, but some of them. Although smoking, specifically smoking marijuana, does increase the chance of lung cancer, just like smoking anything else. Anything you smoke is going to increase the chance of lung cancer. Period. You don't want the chance of lung cancer? Eat this stuff, alright? I don't care. Again, I'm not here to stop you from doing your weed. I don't do weed. I'm not here to stop you from doing it. I don't care. I'm just telling you what I know. Anyways, it also has been proven that it helps improve blood circulation by making your heart pump faster. Now, this does increase the chance of a heart attack, and in some very, very, very rare cases, weed has caused heart attacks in the first hit or even a few hits into it. It does cause heart attacks because it makes your heart pump faster. but at the same time it helps improve the blood circulation. It can also help calm. Oh, I skipped this part. Hold on, I'm reading. Like I told you, I'm reading. It helps calm anxiety. It helps soothe depression. It helps serve as an appetite booster. It helps cure migraines and headaches. It even helps protect you from glaucoma and helps cure insomnia. Yes, I said cure insomnia. It even helps rejuvenate and regenerate the skin tissue. These are all proven benefits. Proven benefits. These are also why so many people are trying to strive for the legalization of medical marijuana. However, these medical benefits come from the oil of the plant, the cannabis oil, not so much the THC. Even the calming anxiety, soothing depression, helping insomnia, that's not from the THC, guys. THC might help with that temporarily, but it's not a medical effect. That's just a temporary effect of THC. The oil is what calms your anxiety, is what helps soothe your depression. Anyways, now bear with me. I'm going to get back to the benefits of weed. I'm going to get back to the pros and the stuff like that. But first, I'm going to cover the negatives, specifically because, like I said, I'm spewing out everything I know. I just want to share. Specifically, I'm going to delve into the negatives of THC, because I know that. Please excuse the dying dog over there. She's just coughing. Don't know why. Don't know what she got into. Don't care what she got into. Anyways, THC, tetrahydrocannabinol. This is what causes the high. And it's also what causes the harm from weed. And here's what I mean by harm. First, we'll start with what's called homeostasis. Now, I drew up some pictures for this. Why? Because I geeked out about this. It was on my mind a lot, and I just wanted to let everything out. So, yeah. This is homeostasis. Ta-da! Let me see if I can see that. Let me click to the camera. Oh, there it is. This is your homeostasis. Homeostasis means, in literally, the state of being human, the same level. Basically, it means normal emotional fluctuation. That's what homeostasis is used to describe. Now, a normal human will experience homeostasis or emotional fluctuation through something called the pendulum effect. A pendulum, for those of you who don't know, let me grab some headphones because they're the nearest string-like object. A pendulum is something that swings back and forth, like this. And usually they swing the same direction in both ways, the same distance in both ways, the same speed in both ways. It's called the pendulum effect. Emotion reacts in the same way. You're going to go up to your happy emotion, and then you're going to fall down to your emotion. Usually the distance from your same level, your plain old meh, this line here, your meh line, you're going to get from happy to sad, sad to happy. It's called time affects your emotions. That's how it works. That's normal humans. Okay? That is called homeostasis. Like I said, it works in the pendulum effect. This gap's going to be just as wide as this gap. This gap's wide as this gap. Height's the same. Everything. Now, it is different for people with depression and anxiety. I'll get to that, I promise. I'm going to cover how weed affects all people that I know of, not just normal, quote-unquote, humans. Alright? Now, here's what weed, or specifically THC, does to your homeostasis. This is the first part. THC skyrockets you at a very fast rate to above a normal average happiness level, and it keeps you there much longer than a normal happiness level should last. But again, the pendulum effect is a thing, because with that skyrocket it goes a skyrocket down. And this is called coming off your high. Now the problem is, this is viewed as an abnormality to your system. Your brain's like, oh, that was weird, that shouldn't have happened. Oh well, I'm back to the bottom, starts from normal. But it doesn't realize is that it's not at the bottom, it's below the bottom. Your brain doesn't realize that, so it starts going more. Your depression gets worse, your happiness gets less. Over time, the effects of using weed go like that. That's not the right one, I'm sorry, that was the depression one. They get like that, sort of, kind of, lined up. There you go. So you see how the second high, that's a bad example, the second high is much lower than the first high, and it gets worse. it gets much worse. So right now, your depression is worse than usual, your happiness is lower. So what you do is you smoke weed again to get yourself back to that normal rate. And of course, this is after dozens, if not hundreds of times of smoking. Your depression gets higher and finally can get it to normal, but then it skyrockets again, so the depression is even lower. And then even at your happiest point, it's just meh. Do you get what I'm catching at? THC messes with your homeostasis. Over time, it creates depression. It creates it. You use it because you're depressed, and you get reliant on it because it creates the depression. It has even been proven that over time, not even over time, it's been proven that people who use it often go through withdrawals from it. And anyone with a brain knows that going through withdrawals means you are addicted. You can get addicted to weed. Proven. Focusing a little bit too much on the negatives, let's keep going. Either way. Now, there are people with depression. Now, a normal person's depression's homeostasis levels will look something like this. Alright? You'll notice that, so this direction is time, up and down, so the x-axis is time, the y-axis is levels of happiness or sadness. So you'll notice that some people with depression, we're focusing on this half of the graph, some people with depression have short periods of happiness and prolonged periods of sadness, but it is still a pendulum. Other people will have a moment of happiness at a normal level, but their sadness gets much, much worse. Or vice versa, their sadness is normal, their happiness is shorter than it should be. It's just, this is depression, this is also anxiety. The two are usually intertwined. This is depression. Now, people with depression will smoke weed or THC to level these out, to get the happiness to at least match the depression. But what they're not realizing is the effect of homeostasis happens the exact same. Your depression, even though your happiness might get normal to this level of depression, your next level of depression is going to become that. And it's going to keep going down. It's the effect of... It's how THC affects it. It pendulums. It goes way up, then it goes way down. It says it's okay, we're back to normal. Much like how I said earlier. That is THC. Cannabis oil is different. Cannabis oil can actually, in some cases, it helps with this. It doesn't guarantee do it. But in some cases, it does level these out without actually messing with the homeostasis itself, without messing with the overall positioning of the graph. It simply widens that, shortens that, shrinks that, grows that. It just, that's it. It just fixes it. And sort of, not guaranteed. Getting off track. Now, this is people with depression. This is kind of a sad, but at the same time, a true fact. Depression is an awful, awful illness that way too many people have, but not nearly as many as those who claim it. So many people say they have depression, and they don't. They don't. Last year's medical records show that there were over, in the United States at least, there are 318.9 million people over the age of 18. Of that 318.9 million, only 40 million had depression or anxiety or both. That's 17%. And I say people over 18 for a reason. Because if you're not an adult, if you're not over 18, chances are your depression is just hormones. It really is. People with hormones usually look the exact same as people with depression. All teenagers are at some point have depression at some point. And it is medically diagnosed, or it is self-diagnosed. In most cases, it's self-diagnosed, and they say it's medical diagnosed. Welcome to high school. People lie. And it's just sad. Because what will happen is they say, I have depression, I need to smoke weed. And then the weed affects them so much that by the time they're adult, the depression becomes real instead of just waiting for their hormones to level out. In fact, there's really no way to tell if someone is experiencing clinical depression until they're at least 24 years old, when their brain is fully developed. I'm getting off track. That's an argument for another day. It's sad. because teenagers with depression are using weed to cure their depression, and in reality it's causing it. It's messing with the homeostasis. Now, also this effect on your homeostasis, it's what makes weed a gateway drug. Because eventually, much like I showed with this picture, you'll need weed just to get back to your normal level of happiness. Just to get back to your normal level of happiness, you'll need weed. And eventually, because every time you do it, it drops it more and more, eventually you're going to need weed just to feel someone's normal level of sadness. It won't be that bad. And that's how it becomes a gateway drug, because eventually it won't do it for you anymore. You can call BS on that if you want. I've seen it happen to 5 different people. It may not be a gateway drug to everyone, but it still is a gateway drug. Don't believe me? Ask the nearest adult to you. I want you to find the closest sitting adult and ask them, hey, have anyone you know gone to other drugs after starting weed? Or any variation. Ask them, is weed a gateway drug? Bet you $10 they'll say yes. Now, that's the emotional health. Let's cover the mental health. Let's cover the mental benefits or disbenefits. THC, on average, will stay in your body for 4 days, on average. If you use marijuana a lot, if you smoke it or eat it or drink it as a tea, whatever, if you use it a lot, that number will go up to about 6 days. Now, my definition of a lot is more than once a week. The world's definition of a lot is more than twice a month. So we're going to go off the twice a month rule. If you use it more than twice a month, it'll stay in your body an average of about 6 days. Give or take, of course, depending on the person. But the whole time THC stays in your body, even after the high is gone, it is continuously killing your brain cells. That's a proven fact. Much like how it helps cure cancer, or much how the oil can help cure cancer, the THC will stay in your body and kill brain cells the entire time it's there. If you smoke marijuana more than twice a month, over the time of 5 years, you will have lost an average 8 IQ points. 8 IQ points doesn't sound like much, does it? Until I tell you that the average human's IQ, the average adult human's IQ, is 80. Finishing high school, take into account average. All the people who finished high school, all the people who dropped out, the average adult is 80. Meaning in 5 years, you lose 1/10 of your IQ. That's a lot. In 5 years, you're going from an adult level intelligence to a low high school level. And for those of you weed users who dropped out of high school, you know who you are. Chances are, by now, if you dropped out while I was in high school, chances are by now you're in the middle school level of intelligence. I know some weed users who are in the 5th grade level of intelligence. I know because I've seen them tested. 5th grade level. My age. Drug users. It's sad. Anyways, I know people who, and that's just if you smoke it more than twice a month over 5 years. I know people who smoke it almost every day. And for them, it's just going down faster. And it's sad because I can see it happening. I talk to these people and I'm just like, this is not the same person I talked to last year. Furthermore, your liver, it converts the THC to what's called THC-COOH, which is what you pee out in a drug test. It's what they test for. It's what your liver converts it to. And although THC leaves your body in a maximum of 12 days, THC-COOH can stay in your body for up to a year. Usually it's gone in about 2 months, but it can stay up to a year. The whole time in your body, it's not killing brain cells, but it still is altering the hippocampus of your brain. Eventually, and inevitably, it will cause permanent brain damage. Whether it's minute, whether it's significant, whether it's a lot, depends on how much you smoke. But eventually, it will cause permanent brain damage. Even one hit might be insignificant from one hit, but for someone who smokes it twice, 3 times a week, that's a lot. And this brain damage is more than just, mental, I'm getting stupider. It is behavioral alterations, memory loss, mental maturity, Even your mental stability, it can make you crazy. It can make you insane. Don't act like you haven't seen it. Most people, whether they use weed or don't use weed, have lost many friends because weed changes who they are as a person. Whether we changed your friends who they are as a person or changed you who you are as a person. It creates behavior alterations. And that is not just from, I've grown up, I've learned more, I've seen more, or he just didn't like me because I do drugs. No. It's caused brain damage that changes who you are. We've covered mental and emotional. I'm going to get back to the positives. I promise this is getting dark and I'm sorry. Last one, we're going to cover the negative physical. Then we're going to get back to the happy stuff. Just wait. These are a few of the physical side effects, the immediate noticeable side effects of using marijuana. Dizziness, shallow breathing, red eyes, dilated pupils, dry mouth or cotton mouth, an increased appetite. You've all had the munchies before. Slowed reaction time, which makes it dangerous for driving, no matter what you'll hear people say. And no matter what people will have you believe, if you are using it a long time, you will go through withdrawals. That means you can get addicted. If you don't believe me, go ask your stoner friend, and we all have that stoner friend. Go ask your stoner friend to stop. Try them to sincerely stop. Say it's a forced science experiment. Don't tell them why. Ask them to sincerely stop. They'll try, and then they'll jump right back in, and they'll be giving some excuse as to why they went back. Just like any addiction. Trust me. I've seen it. I know it. Well, I don't know it. I've never been addicted. You know what I mean. Either way. Also, despite... what was I going to say? I had a thought, and then it went away from me. It came back. Despite cannabis oil fighting the effects of paranoia and anxiety, stuff like that, despite cannabis oil soothing those effects, THC actually increases them. THC can and will cause paranoia, anxiety, depression. Again, I'm reading off a list. Depression, short-term memory loss. If you have short-term memory loss. These are all things that it can cause. Don't act like there are times where you smoked weed and it seems like there's nothing wrong in the world, man. And that's from the cannabis oil. And then there's times where you're scared, the government's at your door, you know the cops know you have weed, and that's the THC. What gives you the high is what's giving you the anxiety and the depression. There's also short-term memory loss. And here's the cool thing. These 4 are proven. There's more being tested. If you have low blood pressure, diabetes, liver disease, or schizophrenia, THC will make your condition worse. But the voices are only quiet when I'm high. Yes, but when you're off, it's worse. Much like depression or anxiety. That's what the THC does. It makes it worse. Cannabis oil, good. THC, bad. I'm continuing on. Believe it or not, in rare cases it causes heart attacks. I already read that or told you that or whatever. Here's interesting, not many people know this though. If you're a man, it lowers your testosterone levels and your sperm count. If you're a woman, now they've proven this to be the case for rats and monkeys. They have not yet tested it for people. Doesn't mean they haven't proven it for people, but they haven't tested it for people, but it is definitely the case for rats and monkeys. When the rats and monkeys were exposed to THC while they were pregnant, a normal amount, twice a month, 60% of the offspring had some form of learning disability and some form of learning disability. Some were severe, some were barely noticeable, but it was some form of learning disability. 60% of the offspring. I've read that when I'm smoking weed while pregnant, it doesn't affect my baby. Yes, it does. For rats and monkeys. And if you're not in the Homo sapien class, same as the monkeys are, then I don't know what to tell you. You're not human, son, and you shouldn't be talking the English, and I'm going to get a knife and stab you in the skull. Just saying. That's what you do with demons and doppelgangers. It's common knowledge. Anyways, Basically, no matter how you look at it, THC, with exception of that temporary high, it's a bad thing. Good stuff now. Cannabis oil. Cannabis oil. On the other hand, cannabis oil. Some people call it a miracle drug, and in many, many ways, it is dang near close to one. Cannabis oil helps cure and prevent cancer. It helps insomnia. I've said these all before. It helps glaucoma, anxiety, depression, eating disorders. It even helps it helps protect, rejuvenate, and regenerate skin tissue. And here's the amazing part, and I forgot about this actually until I just read it. If it's extracted properly, it has no THC. Oh no, but then I don't get high off it. Yes, but you get all the medical benefits that you're so desperately craving from that high. And if it's extracted properly, it has no THC, and if it's used properly, in moderation, it has no harmful side effects. However, it is still a potent chemical substance. Still a potent chemical substance from a plant, mind you, that is prone to 10 psychotic reactions. It messes with your brain, man. It's still a potent chemical substance, meaning just like any prescription drug pill, you must be extremely careful and only use it in specific amounts, specific situations, under specific environments. So basically, to sum up my political view on this, I think the legalization of cannabis oil as a medical cannabis oil as a medical drug is an amazing idea. So long as it's used as an over-the-counter drug. A prescription drug, not over-the-counter, I meant. A prescription drug. Follow the instructions. As long as it's used like that, and legalized like that, yes, do it. But legalizing marijuana itself, whether it's for medical, whether it's for recreational, it doesn't matter. In my opinion, the cons far, far, far outweigh the pros. It's a bad idea. Period. That's my viewpoint. That's my research. Been having this argument since middle school. No one's converted me yet, because I know what I'm talking about. I've seen it. I've lost my closest friends because of it, and I say that in all honesty. 3 of my closest friends that I thought would be with me to the end, I lost them because they changed as a person. They are different people. I've seen them change. Not from growing older. Because growing older doesn't make you digress in intellect, or in behavior, or in maturity. But at the same time, some of my best friends, currently at least, do smoke weed. Some in moderation, some medically, some of them almost every day. In fact, one of them is, and he will admit it, completely reliant on the stuff. He cannot go more than a few hours without it, otherwise he gets depressed and suicidal. He'll even admit it. And on top of that, some of the greatest minds or athletes in history have been proven to use it. Michael Phelps. Einstein, I believe, was proven to use it. I'm not sure about that one. I've heard that one. I don't remember. Maybe. I might be thinking of someone else. Either way. So, yeah. Do what you will with it, but it's not for me. And if you look at the facts and the statistics that one Michael Phelps compared to every high school in Utah, every stoner you've ever met in your life, how many of them are begging on the streets, how many of them are gateway to other drugs, doesn't matter. How many of them have changed for the worse, or maybe for the better. Statistically, intellectually, medically, the cons outweigh the pros. And for that, I am against the legalization of marijuana. Now let the firestorm roll.